Hey, this is Dave Eisenberg, staff writer with Brewbound.com. I'm here with Chris Fenari, the website's editor, at the 2014 Craft Brewers Conference in Denver, Colorado. We've been going around asking a handful of attendees a number of questions on a variety of topics, one of which has been, how do you define success? Chris, what have you been hearing on that?
Well, we really wanted to find out the tangible ways that craft brewers measure success beyond just making quality liquid. I think it's a given that you have to make quality beer now, and a lot of people define success that way. But I think having the respect of their industry peers is one thing that people seem to zero in on. Obviously, financial profitability. They want to be successful companies financially. That doesn't necessarily mean the same thing for everybody. We heard a lot of different responses. We got a lot of interesting feedback from people, so why don't we take a look at what they said?
Let's do it.
I think it's a great question because with so many breweries coming online, there's going to be multiple different ways that different breweries do measure their success. Number one, if you're a business, you need to stay in business. So I think success is going to show that the books are getting balanced properly and they're able to run a profit and show that they have long-term longevity. I think tied to that, you're not successful as a brewery unless you really are tied to your local community. That's assuming your production. If you're contract and success, that's a different model, right? You want to make sure that you've got brand traction in the marketplace, maybe a pull, and you do have recognition. So it's very varied based on what type of brewery you are.
The measure of success is for them to set the bar where they believe they should be at and not look at anybody else, period. You got to run your own race.
Success has a number of factors that come into the brewing world. Number one, do people know who you are? And that's been very important for us in this last year. People actually came in and say, I mean to come into this brewery and I've heard about you. So that's been successful in and of itself. Also being able to increase your production, which we've done in this past year, is important in being a craft brewer and measuring success. And thirdly, being able to have consistent products, I think, is also a measure of being successful.
Really what we've seen after 18 years is success is measured in the people that you've surrounded yourself by. For Ron and I, it's about creating livelihoods and sustainable careers and job opportunities because we are now an industry and we act like an industry, and making those livelihoods and keeping them robust is an incredibly important factor, and we measure our quality and how well we're doing that.
I think we measure financial success, of course. That's really, really important from a business point. But to me, success is also the respect that you get inside the brewery, the respect that you get with the people that you work with on a daily basis, and keeping these people motivated and make sure that these people do what they like to do. I think that's very important.
As far as a business owner, of course I want to see a profitable business, but for me that also means I need to be providing my employees with a really positive work environment, and that I'm taking care of them and giving them a good quality of life.
Yeah, by the amount they're growing. I mean, ultimately consumption means that people are enjoying what you're producing, so I think you could look at year-over-year growth rate as a pretty easy barometer of success.
We have some pretty big long-term goals, so we're really looking for increased distribution in our current footprint. We want to go deep, we want to get a lot of draft lines, we want to get really nice placements all over the state of Massachusetts, and that's our biggest barometer for success right now. How much beer are we moving in the state? How much of it is on tap? Are people learning about who Jack Zappy is?
I think first and foremost is consistency of quality in the product, and being able to provide that on a consistent basis, obviously. Profitability is, you can't really get away from that. You need to be turning a profit. But our success, I think, is really in terms of collaborating with other small craft producers and creating sustainable relationships at retail.
Certainly there's success of the P&L, and that's the obvious one, or increasing market share. This is not perhaps tangible because you can't, get a tape measure out for it. But I think happiness and, a sense that the work that you're doing is fulfilling, the team that you've built has good, solid camaraderie, and you're building community both in your organization and in the places that you sell beer. To me, that's what success is largely tied to.
If you were to ask me how I personally think that I make an impact or what's important to me, making really good craft beer is very important, but affecting people's lives in our community and certainly the people who come to work every day and making sure that, their day-to-day is affected in a positive way
that's a little bit more important to me than the liquid we're producing at the end of the day. So I think as an industry, we're here to fulfill a kind of positive outlet in people's lives. Beer is fun to drink. It's delicious. It's got some alcohol in it, and it makes us feel good. And I'd like people who come to work and people in our community to feel that way about our business.